Happy 2017. How's everybody doing this morning? Great. Did y'all run on caffeine like I am? Yeah? Okay. Well, welcome to the new year. I'm glad we all made it. And before we get started, I just want to let you guys know how blessed and honored I feel to be your pastor in the new year. I'd like to thank the visitors that we have today and our online listeners. And we will start with the title, the quote for the day, I guess you could call it. It's by Cavett Robert. That's actually not backwards. I thought it was, but it's not. That's how his name goes. He said, "Character is the ability to carry out a good resolution long after the excitement of the moment has passed." I'm going to share a quick story before I start. Some of you might know, my first degree was a physical fitness specialist degree. And it covers a wide variety of things, but one of the main paths you can take is being a personal trainer. And I did that for a little while. And it fulfilled a certain part because helping people, if you've been able to guess, is kind of what I'm into. And so I did that. And every year, in the new year, you would have many, many clients. But as Donna pointed out, 2 weeks to a month, and you lose everybody. Everybody gives up. Because it's difficult to keep a resolution. So in the coming year of making your resolutions, make sure they're reachable. Don't make them too outrageous that you can't reach them and then give up and feel bad because you did it. So I don't do that anymore, as you tell, and I'm not a pastor now. So we never know where life is going to take us, obviously. But to keep the resolution, to keep things in your life, as we're all here, we're obviously thinking about God. And we're also talking about, well, first of all, Cavett Robert was a founder of the Motivational Speakers Association. That's who he was, in case you were wondering. In Revelations, when I was going through school, I was warned about a couple things. Pastors don't like to teach the Old Testament because there's so much negativity, and nobody likes to teach the Revelations because of the imagery and the things that happen in there. But I don't listen to anybody, so I'm going to do my own thing. We're going to do Revelations for the new year. It's the first one. In Revelations, first thing you're going to want to take into consideration is what it is. So things have to happen in our life for opportunities to present themselves, right? Same thing happens with Revelations. Something has to end before things can be saved. And so we're going to talk about that. But Revelations is kind of like a wilderness. It's unexplored territory because, as we've talked about, we don't know what to expect, right? So it's unfamiliar to us, and it's a little scary. The things that are written in there are graphic and stuff we don't like to think about or talk about, but it's in the Bible for a reason. Now, it doesn't offer rest and comfort at first, but it does come towards the end, and we'll talk about that too. The author of Revelations identifies himself as John. So for many, many years, we assumed they were talking about who? The Baptist, or the disciple John. Recently, and that's within the last 100 years, they've come up with a John of Patmos. And who is that? Patmos is a Greek island. And experts believe that John was banished from the Romans to this Greek island. And he's the one who wrote this. And so it's still up for grabs. I mean, this is not a definite thing, but it just goes to show you, after so long of thinking or knowing that where something came from, we thought we knew, and now new things pop up all the time. So nothing's really definite, and things are always up for interpretation. That's what we get out of that. The reason I picked 21, Revelations 21, for this year, the vision of chapter 21, it celebrates the end of death and grief. And some have lost something this year. It doesn't matter if it's a person, a pet, a job. Maybe it's your favorite pair of earrings. Who knows? But something has left you. And so this notices the thing that has left you in your own personal life. Each and every one of you has your own thing. But this coming year will present the opportunities you'll see before you. So it's a time to get excited about the new year because you have endless possibilities before you. Things you won't see as they're happening, as we talked about, but you'll see it later on. So we'll start with verse 1. Then I saw a new heaven and a new earth. The first heaven and the first earth disappeared, and the sea has vanished. Can you put that up, Kim, for a second, please? I just want you guys to look at this, the first verse, and I want you to tell me why it's confusing. Check that out. Now, what do you guys see wrong with that? Or confusing? Or questionable? Anybody?
You would think that heaven is eternal.
Right. Okay, that's one thing. There's one more. Well, heaven will be sought as it comes forth. Now, that's all in the subjective perspective. But look at the end. It says, and the sea has vanished. If the earth is gone, why are they talking about the sea? Isn't that all included? Why wouldn't they say the sea and then the earth? Because we can't have one without the other, can we? A little confusing. So I looked into this. The sea is no more. This is a unique order because it now stands out by itself. This last part means something. And so are they actually talking about the sea that we know, water? So the heaven and the earth passed away. So now it's in a kind of a redundant stage. Of course, the ocean's gone. That's what we can get out of it. Have you ever heard the phrase, you cannot tame the sea? You ever heard that? Okay. It's this uncontrollable force we can think of the sea as, okay? This specific inclusion is very important because I want you to think of the sea as chaos in existence. In your life, in the world, chaos. And we've all seen it because we watch the news and they don't put anything happy on there anymore, right? Unfortunately. But, so we're looking at this as chaos. And now we can see this specific conclusion as another one of God's powers. He is able to be triumphant over this chaos. Not only does he get rid of all the evil that is happening in the world, but this chaos, this noise that we can't control in our own lives, things happen to us and we can't control it. It's just going to happen. And so in the world, God's able to get rid of it. That's a comfort in itself. Can you just imagine for a second what it would be like to have no more noise in your life? No more people yelling at you, saying anything bad, everything was happy, and it's quiet. Do you hear how quiet that is? It made you smile. I see it. Many of you smiling already. And that was just by me saying something. So, chaos cannot be tamed in a personal life, in your own life. It can be overpowered, forgotten, ignored, channeled. You can attempt to prevent it. Sometimes you can't even do that. But it can never be tamed, and this is why that's so important. In 1 to 6 here, verses 1 to 6, we have 3 parts of God's renewal. So we have the location of Jerusalem, which is in a different location as far as the perspectives we're talking about. We talked about levels a long time ago. This is something we're talking about. Now it's coming down to a level that we can understand, we can enjoy, because it's coming to us. Then we have the presence of God, which is in the middle part. And we talked about what it means to be a prophet, what the definition is last week. So that's going to tie in. And we have the death of death. We have the stoppage of death. And that in itself is kind of a confusing enigma. In verse 2, And I saw the holy city, the new Jerusalem, coming down out of the heaven from God, prepared and ready, like a bride dressed to meet her husband. Do you guys remember when I showed you that picture? The one we had up here and everybody looked at it? Now, what did you notice about Mary? What was she dressed in? All in white. And you guys knew right away it symbolized purity and innocence. When you think of a bride, do you think of many other dresses besides the white gown that you typically see? Stereotypical. You can think of them, but that's not the first thought you think. And so this is another thing. This is a purification moment. It purges the system of our lives and make things better. And we can expect this to happen because he told us this is going to happen. The importance of this situation is identified in this one. So, ladies, have you ever worn your wedding dress after that day? Why? I was told it doesn't fit. Well, that's a good reason. Okay. I can't argue with that. But it's an important thing. And we wear it once and don't wear it again for more than one reason. But that signifies the importance of it because it doesn't come up again. And it's only, those kind of dresses are only worn for that occasion. And this imagery of pure white, it's a calming effect. We're talking about the noise. When we think of evil, what color is that? Black, dark. But this is a complete opposite. This is the happiness that we're talking about. And this is the happiness we're going to come to expect. I heard a loud voice speaking from the throne. Now God's home is with men. He will live with them. And they shall be his people. God himself will be with them. And he will be their God. Well, the direct translation from the scrolls from Hebrew, it says, "Behold the tabernacle of God with the people, and the God tabernacles with them." In case your Bible says that. Tabernacle is like a dwelling place. So we're still talking about the places, and we're talking about the actual situations that they're in physically. So you can keep that in your mind. There is a comfort of God being finally with us. So we're told over and over again, he's always here, he's always around us. And that's true. It's a little bit different though. Yes, we have the Holy Spirit, we have Jesus Christ, and we have God. And we understand that. But it's a little different when those three things are being separated and now they're being put together. So have you ever felt a difference? Maybe when you were dating your spouse or something like that. The first time that you just gave them a hug. There's a big difference between you talking to them or them talking back even, and then you embracing them for the first time. Or holding hands or kissing. Doesn't matter. That physical contact changed things, didn't it? Made your heart flutter, made you smile, your face got red. These responses happened, and they'll happen again. But that difference is important to note, because it's something that we're only going to feel once, and that's going to be it. Just like when you fell in love, well, we all hope that that's the first time that'll happen, and the only time. But the point is there is a big difference, and there's a warm feeling inside of us that we want to feel. This also is an affirmation of God's power and love. These two entities, separation of entities above and below, we can just think of it that way, to be rid of evil and sin and everything bad, and then bringing down the New Jerusalem. It's cosmic power that we can't possibly comprehend. We have no idea. And there can be doubts sometimes. Not necessarily any of you, but you may know somebody who has doubted God for one reason or another. Maybe he can't do that. Maybe he's not listening. That's not true. He's always listening, and he's always there. He might not listen to you because what you want isn't what you need. And that's basically what it boils down to. And so he is always there. So even to say something like that he may not be able to do something, it's just so far off when you read Revelations that if we did, now that I'm bringing it up, maybe things will change a little bit. The world had strayed from God, and there was no redemption in sight. When the world gets to this point, when we're talking about comprehension, it's just something we really can't think of either. There is such an abundance, and we see it a lot. But we're still able to see other things and keep the faith and keep the happiness. And depending how deep you are in your religious Christian belief system, you may feel more love and faith than you do sin anyway. But this takes it to a new level. The imagery that they talk about in Revelations, you'll be able to see a difference. So, by that definition, by that meaning, you have less to worry about now because it's obvious we're not there yet. So we have a lot of happiness to go. So there's no need to worry. And there's also a last affirmation in that verse is, he's going to be with us through it all. Through this whole thing, until he comes back, he's going to be there. Your best friend, your family, the confidant, the one you look to, the one you pray to, because he's our Father, just like we talked about last week. He will wipe away all the tears from their eyes, and there will be no more death, no more grief, or crying, or pain. The old things have disappeared. When I talked about thinking about whiteness, and I stopped talking for a second, you heard complete silence. And that one happy moment you felt just for me doing that. He's talking about getting rid of all the sin and bad things that are in your life. And everybody's life. Can we ask for more than that? Is there more to pray about than that? Let me put it that way. Should we be praying for more than just what we're getting from this verse? Anybody? Is it being selfish if we do? Are you confused yet? A little bit? No. There's absolutely nothing in the world that can make you stop praying. You're to be praying constantly because that's what keeps you in contact with God. That's how things get done because he is listening. It would be a fantastic thing if there was no more death, no more grief, no more crying. That would be phenomenal. Would we lose our appreciation for things if it was? A little bit. Have we gotten comfortable in our Christian life where we're like, yeah, I go to church, I pray, I donate, I'm good? Has it ever happened? It's okay to admit it. We're all human. It's fine. And so, no, we're not supposed to give up. And this is a happy thing. It's all gone. It's all happy. Everything's wonderful. Bad things do have to happen first. But like I said last week, you're still here. You're still kicking. You may fall, as in a parking lot, but you got back up. And you're in church. And you're still smiling. Now we're on to the prophetic moment that we talked about last week. Then the one who sits on the throne said, "And now I make all things new." He also said to me, "Write this, because these words are true and can be trusted." Then the one who sits on the throne said, who is that? Christ. He's talking. This is his words. I don't know about you, but when I read the Bible and I see these kind of passages that are coming straight from the source, it means more to me. And that's not an okay thing to say as far as what's more important than another thing, because it's all important. But something that's actually coming from God, a verse that's coming from God, it makes me study it a little more. And you listen more intently. We're talking about parents, just like we said about the father. When somebody said your full name using your middle name, did you know to listen? Yes, you did. And if you didn't, you knew it was coming. I talked about the prophets and why their words are so important. It's because it doesn't happen all the time. This is a rare thing. And it's a wonderful thing. It's an attentive thing. Because you want to know what's going to happen. You want to know what to expect. We talked about why that can't happen. But it's something we're always going to want. And now we make all things new. It's all gone. But all things are new. You all got Christmas presents. You all opened them up. Hopefully you got what you wanted. But when you're opening that new toy, fellas, that tool that you wanted in your tool chest, or the new pair of earrings that will make you look more beautiful than you have in years, ladies, there's something about that makes you smile. It's not just the fact that family's here. That's why you're happy. But you do. You like your gifts. Everybody does. The gifts can come in many different ways. We have the material gifts that we give at Christmas. But we also have the spiritual blessings that we feel. And many people got that. Obviously, people who don't even go here have gotten that just from our display outside, as we've heard. And so he made all things new. Write this, because these words are true and can be trusted. Why would he have said that? Would God ever say something that we couldn't trust? Why would he say that? Maybe because even the people who are actually able to hear God can still doubt whether what they're hearing is from him or not. So if you've thought of those people as more important, think about why this is in here. This wouldn't be in here if they were just like, yep, I'm on it. Yep, I'm writing that down. Yep, that's important. Because we can't possibly know. And they don't possibly know. But they'll let us know when they don't. And that's comfort in itself too. In verse 6, he said, "It is done. I am the Alpha and the Omega, the beginning and the end. To anyone who is thirsty, I will give a free drink of the water from the spring of the water of life." This is what we talked about. When we talked about Alpha and Omega, we talked about it. You guys know what it means now, if you didn't before. The beginning and the end. We know he created everything. Do we always think that he's going to be the one to end it, though? We know he's involved in the ending. But I don't know about you, but I did read online, so I know some people think of this. Things get so bad that it has to be ended. So it's not God's doing. We do it to ourselves until he has to intervene. Is that what we're kind of thinking? That how it might happen? Well, a couple people are shaking their head. Yeah, that's what we think about. Because we don't think of him as a bad guy. But is this a bad thing that is happening? No. This is another blessing from God. He just continues to give to us constantly. To anyone who is thirsty, I will give a free drink. Are we talking about water? No. Right. We're talking about the Spirit. We're talking about the blessings, the grace, the love. Anybody who feels their glass is even partially empty, he's going to fill it right to the top. Another comfort from God. Water from the spring of the water of life. It's a little bit different than my Bible. Most of you guys here are, we can probably say country folk. Can we say that without being stereotypical? We're not in the city up here. And when you've grown up where you have, you've found springs maybe in your life. So you guys have seen them out in the wild. Yeah? So what is it when you come upon something like that? You followed the creek looking for crawfish, walking up the creek. You're looking at minnows, catching things, and you come upon a spring out of the middle of nowhere. So what does that spring signify to you? Personally, there's no wrong answer. Purity. Refreshing. How about sustenance? What are the three things we can't live without? Or the three necessities we always talk about? Food, water, and shelter. One of them's water. And then we have a source of something that comes up out of nowhere. This purity, this sustenance, this refreshing change of pace we see. It's a blessing, one little blessing. But when you take all those blessings and it all runs into one place, we get the mighty Susquehanna, don't we? A river of blessings, a powerhouse of blessings. Our whole place is modeled after that place because of all the transit and things that it was used for. And just a fun fact for you guys, if you didn't know why Lock Haven was called Lock Haven, it's because there was like 5 or 6 locks that make it up when the ships were going up and down it. I didn't know that, but now you do. But that's a point that I want to make. There's a whole bunch of sources that these blessings come from. All different walks of life, in all different parts of the mountain, between rocks, in thorn bushes, under bugs and other gross things. But it all comes back to one place. And it turns into this powerhouse in your life that you're going to use for the coming year. Blessings to you all. Amen.